Matthew Graham, author of this episode, says in an interview, "It was only later I realized that the older fans had reacted badly to it. So I went, well, it's a shame that they have, but it wasn't meant for them." I had no idea you could do that. That is so awesome. Okay. I am going to tear this crap episode apart. Are you tempted to react badly to that? Well, that's a shame, because it's not meant for you! With just shy of half a century of material spread out over numerous creative teams and countless writers and directors, it is a fool's effort to insist on what Doctor Who is and is not. The series has had hard science fiction, and it's had silly borderline fantasy. It's had comedy and horror. It's had moral positions in one episode that are completely at odds with the moral positions of another episode. So to me, the cheapest and most desperate attempt to deflect criticism of any episode is to say, this is a children's show. First, because this requires twisting and contorting the reality of how this show is always operated solely so a label can be slapped onto it to try to justify one's position, rather than accepting that what Who isn't so easily contained. If you ask me whether I understand the difference between something made for adults and something made for children, I'll answer yes. Do you understand the difference between something made well and something made badly? For instance, let's look at technobabble. Besides the rare actual use of science, it's really divisible into two categories: nonsense and stupid. The difference between them being one is obviously talking out of your ass, the other is talking out of your ass and either not realizing it or thinking that you're actually getting away with it somehow. The second reason calling it a children's show is cheap is because that makes an assumption about children. Children are different. So Doctor Who got some happy letters from children about this episode. Real nice anecdotal evidence there. Want to hear my anecdotal evidence? My kids were 7 at the time we watched this. They thought it was boring. Their favorite episode from this series was Doomsday. Why? It had Daleks fighting Cybermen. That's cool! And the ironic thing is that Doomsday was supposed to be the impetus for making this. Oh, these are going to be too dark. We have to make something for the kids. That also assumes that kids are in a single box. My kids' favorite David Tennant episode of all time is Blink. They think the Weeping Angels are the best thing ever. They're terrified of them. What children like is what adults like, namely, they like a good show, movie, or book, and they have their own opinions on that too. Terry Pratchett, winner of the Newbery Award, which is awarded for children's literature, says that there isn't much difference between how he writes the regular Discworld novels and the Tiffany Aching ones. He's just a bit more aware of what the boundaries are. But he doesn't dumb things down, because kids are more savvy than you think. Finally, the "It's for Children" is nothing more than a repackaging of my nemesis. The episode's fine, there's just something wrong with you. The whole reason this show is called Opinionated is to recognize that there are different tastes. So nothing makes my claws want to come out at the presumption that my opinion, backed up with 10 to 20 minutes of reasonings, is somehow less valid than your "I like it so you are wrong and a bad person." The whole point of calling it opinionated is to recognize that I am not objectively right any more than anybody else out there is. I just make a case for it. And as I said in my previous review, intellectual inbreeding is dangerous, so by all means, present a counter-argument. Just understand that "it's not for you" is not a counter-argument. That's a very carefully worded "fuck you."